Fundamentals of Chinese 3, Unit 1, talking about the weather. Tomorrow's weather will be even better. Grammar it. Turn to pages 6 to 10 in the textbook to follow along and take notes. So in this unit, we saw the introduction of a very interesting piece of Chinese grammar, and that is comparative sentences with the character 比. So 比 is used to make comparisons between two things, and here's the structure that you saw in the dialogue. A plus the character 比, and then item B, and then the adjective. And you'll notice that the adjective will refer to A. So here's an example. 李有比他大姐高. Right? So Liu is taller than her sister. Older sister in this case. 李有比他大姐高. Right? So Liu is taller than her older sister. So that's going to take some getting used to, because this structure is completely different than the way we compare things in English. And I found when I came across constructions like this in Chinese, I just repeat them over and over again or switch things out. I mean, you've learned how to say things. Just go into the first textbook from Chinese 1 and Chinese 2. So that's Integrated Chinese Level 1 Part 1. And just pick out a bunch of things that you could compare. Coffee, tea, Chinese food, American food, and so on. Just pick out anything that you think you could compare. Make several comparisons about, your brother being taller or what have you. Until this pattern is imprinted on your brain and you don't have to struggle with it. Here's another example. 今天比昨天冷. So today is colder than yesterday. So here's a little more involved comparison. Here's the 比 in the middle. So this right here is the A piece, and this right here is the B piece, and then here is the adjective. So let's take a look at it. 低10克的语法比低9克的语法容易. So here we're saying that and look how this is construction isn't in English. It's completely different. So it's the grammar in lesson 10 is easier than the grammar in lesson 9. So the word order and the construction of these sentences in the two languages are completely different. Lesson 10's grammar is easier than lesson 9's grammar. It's the way they have it here. 低10克的语法比低9克的语法容易. If you want, you can add this EDR after it. So you could have A, B, adjective, and then EDR, or 的多 or 多了. Okay? This would be a little, and these two would be a lot. Okay? So you're saying two things are different, but different only a little. Or you're saying two things are different by just stating 容易. Or you're saying two things are very different by adding the 多 or 多了 at the end here. So let's take a look. 今天比昨天 冷一点儿. So today is a little colder than it was yesterday. Okay. Pay attention here to what it's pointing out that you can't do. 今天比昨天一点儿冷. You can't do that. You have to say 今天比昨天冷一点儿. Right? So this modifying element here has to go after the adjective, just like it says here in the construction, in the example. Here's another example. 明天会比今天冷得多. So this is saying tomorrow will be a lot colder than today. Here's another example. 纽约比这儿冷多了. Or you could say 纽约比这儿冷得多. So both of these sentences are saying that New York is a lot colder than here. And they're showing here again how you can't put the modifying expression before the adjective. The modifying expression must go after the adjective. Like 多了 is after 冷 here, and 得多 is after 冷 here. And here they're pointing out that to express much colder, it's 冷多了 or 冷得多, not 很冷. 很冷 just means very cold. But when you're comparing and you want to say something's colder, then it's 多了 after the adjective or 得多 after the adjective. Okay, we can also use 更 or 还, in this case in front of or before the adjective. So we have A, B, B, and then 更 or 还, and then the adjective. So these two, when used, come before the adjective. These others, when they're used, they come after. Let's see some examples with this. Okay, so here we are. 明天冷. 今天比昨天更冷. 今天比昨天还冷. Okay, so yesterday was cold. Today is even colder than yesterday. Or today, again, is even colder than yesterday. Yesterday was cold, today is even colder than yesterday. Okay, you've learned these two characters previously, 跟 and 和, and they can also be used to make a kind of comparative sentence, where you have A, 跟 or 和, and then B, and then the same or not the same, and then an adjective. Okay, so this is important here. So in these kinds of comparative sentences, unlike with be, okay, you can really only say that two things are different to the same degree. You can't specify whether they're different to a greater or lesser degree like you can with be. And let's see some examples of that. So you could say 这个教室和那个教室一样大. Okay, so this classroom is the same size as that classroom. Okay, here, 这个教室跟那个教室不一样大. Okay, so this classroom is not the same size as that classroom. Here's another example. 这个教室比那个教室大. Right? So this classroom is bigger than that classroom. But if you want to talk about a change in degree of the difference, then you need to use 比. So here's the example. 这个教室比 那个教室大得多. Alright, so this classroom is a lot bigger than that classroom. Okay, so with this kind of the construction, you cannot use 跟 and you cannot use 和, you can only use 比. Okay, here's some more explanation of the particle 了. And as we learned in Chinese 1 and Chinese 2, this is a complicated character. So always pay attention when you see 了 to try and find out why it's there or why it's not there or when you need to use it or when you don't need to use it. So in this case, when 了 occurs at the end of a sentence, it usually indicates a change of status or the realization of a new situation. So we saw 下雪了. Okay, it's snowing now. Okay, so the 了 is saying, hey, a moment ago it wasn't snowing, but now it is. Okay, 妹妹累了. Okay, so my sister wasn't tired a moment ago, but now she is. She's just become tired. 妹妹累了. So it talks about this action being expressed by the verb here is just the change just took place. The status just changed. 我昨天没有空，今天有空了. Okay, so yesterday he didn't have any time, free time. Okay, but today the situation has changed. He has free time. So the 了 emphasizes that change. Alright, here, some people waiting for a bus. 你看，公共汽车来了. Okay, so the bus is now coming. So 了 emphasizes that the bus is now here. There's been a change. Here's another example. 我没有钱了，不买了. Okay, so it can be used in a negative way as well. I don't have any money left. I won't buy it anymore. So the intention was is that you wanted to buy it, but the situation has changed, so you can't buy it. And the reason why is because you don't have any money. And of course you remember that 有 is negated with may and not 不. Okay, you've seen 会 before, used to indicate an anticipated event or action, like the will in English. So we have some more examples here. 白老师现在不在办公室，可是他明天会在. Okay, so here she will be there tomorrow. Right here, 你明年做什么? Okay, what will you do next year? And this is just a general question, so there's really no need for 会, but the person answering has a plan, has an anticipated event or action. So the individual responds by saying, 我明年会去英国学英文. I'll go to Britain to learn English next year. Here are some more examples. 他说他晚上会给你发短信. Okay, so this person is indicating that that person, he, said that he will send you a text message this evening. And in the negative fashion, we use 不 to say will not, to say that something is not going to happen. It's anticipated that something will not happen. We use 不. So we say 小王觉得不舒服，今天不会来滑冰了. Okay, so 小王 is feeling 不舒服. Now you learned 不舒服 means comfortable, but Chinese also use 不舒服 to indicate that they're feeling ill. They're not feeling well, they're feeling ill. So 舒服 in general means comfortable, like this couch is very comfortable. 沙发很舒服, right? You could also say the couch is uncomfortable. 沙发不舒服. But when a person says that they are 不舒服, they mean that they're ill in some way. They have a headache, their stomach hurts, they have a fever, or whatnot. 小王觉得不舒服，今天不会来滑冰了。他这儿天特别忙。I'm sorry, I misread that. 他这几天特别忙，晚上不会去听音乐会了。Okay, so she is very busy these days. She will not be going to the concert this evening. Here's another one. 天气预报说这个周末不会下雪。Okay, so the weather forecast says that this weekend it won't snow. Okay, in this unit we also saw the construction of an adjective together with EDR. And it's pointing out here the expression EDR can be placed after an adjective to indicate slight qualification. And the E is optional. Okay, so you can say EDR or you could just say DR. You could say 高一点 or you can say 高点 The E is optional. So we have 前几天我很不高兴，昨天考试考得很好，我高兴点了。Okay, so these days, these past few days, I have been very unhappy. Yesterday, I did very well on the exam, so I'm a little happier. And you see the le is here because there's been a change in their state of happiness. They were unhappy, but now they're happy. 我妹妹比我姐姐高一点儿. So my little sister is, my younger sister is a little taller than my older sister. Here's another example. 你得快点儿，看电影要完了。So we have hurry up. We're going to be late for the movie. Or you'll be late for the movie, more specifically. In this example, 今天比昨天冷点儿. Today is a bit colder than yesterday. And you'll notice in these two examples that there's no E. There's just DR and DR. Here's a final example. 老师，请您说话说得慢一点儿. Okay, so teacher, please speak a little slower. Okay, here's a common mistake that you can make when trying to formulate sentences in Chinese and maybe you're trying to translate from English. So these are incorrect examples, okay, with the use of EDR. So 我妹妹比我姐姐一点儿高. Okay, because in English we like to say a little taller, where in Chinese they're saying taller a little. This has to go in the back. Okay, so the correct way would be 我妹妹比我姐姐高一点儿. Okay, here 今天比昨天一点儿冷. Okay, this is incorrect. We have to say 冷一点儿. a little colder. Today is a little colder than yesterday. 今天比昨天冷一点儿。This is also incorrect. 老师，请您说话说得一点儿慢。Okay, that's incorrect. This EDR has to go after 慢一点儿. So the correct verb would be 老师，请您说话说得慢一点。And that concludes this grammar lesson for Unit 1.